Let's see. I like Yale. This meeting of the Kuli'ou'ou Kalani Neighborhood Board will now come to order. This year, this meeting is going to be our, what we call our initial convening meeting. So for the knowledge of everyone who is not a board member, what we do here, this is an administrative meeting where we plan out the new year. So the year in the neighborhood board system starts in July and ends in June. The members of the board have 2-year terms, but the officers are re-elected every year. So we are going to elect our officers, re-elect our officers, and also decide on what our meeting arrangements and protocols are going to be for the year. We will be having reports from our first responders and also from the representatives of our state, congressional, state, and city and county representatives. But the primary thing we need to do today is get our business squared away with the officers. And I believe we have enough board members attending, and I want to thank all the board members for joining us on WebEx as well as in person, and for all of you for being here. So we have currently a 17-member board. We have 10 active members and 7 vacancies. If you're interested in joining the neighborhood board and representing your community at the next meeting in September, which will be a regular meeting, we would like to hear more about you, and we'd like you to consider joining us. I want to recognize our board members who are dedicated to serving their community. They spend a lot of time, and they take this every at the very least every month, this evening out of their schedules, and most of them are working full time. I'd like to just recognize them. When I say your name, please wave or stand up. Kawi Lucas, Vice Chair. Sherry Spangler. Hey, Sherry. Thank you, Sherry, for serving us for our board for over 30 years. She is just amazing. I'd like to recognize Janine Johnson, our secretary. Janine has also served the neighborhood board system for over 30 years. Right, Janine? She is a super secretary and very fluent in Olelo, Hawaii. She makes sure that all of our accents and diacritical marks are correct and place names, and that takes a lot of time. Thank you, Janine. Kalani Sonora Pale. Her Calvin Gonzalez. Ulupuhi Pale. And William Kilcoyne, or Bill Kilcoyne. Certainly not last but not least, Bill Kilcoyne, who's been a board member for 12 years. They are really a delight to work with. We don't have, Tim Stanton wasn't able to make it, but at the next meeting, I would like to introduce him as well and thank him. We will first go to our city and county monthly reports so that our first responders can get back to work. I really appreciate you being here. So Honolulu Fire Department.
Hey, good evening, everyone. Oh, sorry, it's kind of short. Good evening. I am Firefighter 1 at the Wailupe Station, filling in for Captain Hall today. Just going to get right into the statistics for July. Don't mind, I'm going to be reading off this paper. For activated alarms, no fire, we had 4. Medical emergencies, we had 34. For motor vehicle crashes or collisions, we had 4. And then we had 1 ocean rescue last month. So As far as the fire safety tips and announcements, they want to mention that the back to school fire safety. So we want to make sure that we're educating students on what they can do to stay safe during the school year. And it is important and often overlooked as well. So for college students living away from home, should take a few minutes to ensure that they are living in a fire safe environment, of course. A big notice on was about overloading outlets. We want to make sure that we're not doing that, keeping lamps, light fixtures, and light bulbs away from anything that can burn, of course. Never use an extension cord with large appliances like a refrigerator. We've been seeing kind of a lot of that. Cook only where it is allowed. Keep the cooking area clean and free of anything that can burn as well. If a fire starts in a microwave, just keep the door closed and unplug the unit. And then if a disaster happens, knowing who to call and where to meet is a very important thing. It's an important part of emergency planning for not only you, but your family as well. So try to pick one main contact that is local, and then another contact that may be out of town or someone who may be easier to reach during a disaster. And then Captain wanted me to mention that we do have our website, fire.honolulu.gov. If you guys have any questions, there's a lot of frequently asked questions on there with answers for you folks as well. Besides that, do you guys have anything else for us?
Does anyone have any questions for the Honolulu Fire Department?
Ocean rescue. Where was, where was the ocean rescue?
It was on a different watch for me, but I believe it was actually right across our station, Wailupe Beach. Yeah.
Well, we thank you for the broad range of ways that you help our community, whether it's assisting with medical emergencies, as well as taking care of us, whether there's wildfires or rescues at sea.
Yeah.
Thank you so much.
Absolutely. Glad to be of service for you folks. You guys have a good night.
You
All right.
too.
Thank you.
Stay safe. Do we have a representative for the Honolulu Police Department?
Hi, good evening. Lieutenant Thompson from District 7.
Oh, how's it?
Hi. I'll get into the stats for the month. For motor vehicle thefts, there was 4. 1 burglary reported, 7 thefts, and 2 car break-ins. Total calls for service was 6,412. Tip for the month, and also if you can keep an eye out, there's been a group of individuals going around selling fake jewelry. The sightings of these individuals approaching people all over the island, including our side of the island. Mainly parking lots of stores, malls, and a lot of the targets seem to be elderly people. So if you could let your family members know to not buy jewelry from people in a parking lot. And they're stating that they're in desperate need of cash. They'll give a story where they either been robbed or they lost their money and they want to sell the jewelry to be able to fly home. And they sell it at a discounted price, so it makes it enticing for someone to buy it. But do not buy the jewelry; it's fake. And if you see any suspicious activity such as this, call 911. And if there's any tips, you can call Crime Stoppers by their phone number or at their website. And that's all I have.
Thank you. Mahalo. Does anyone have questions for the Honolulu Police Department? Sir, how many staff do you have to cover our area?
Today we have 19 on staff. Does not include training officers. We have 3 training officers on top of that. No, the minimum we have working is 18. That's our working minimum. But today is 19, and we have 3 training officers on staff.
Okay.
On top of other support units, but just our patrol staffing is at 19 today.
That's not many. What percentage of staffing do you currently have, with 100% being full staff?
So 19 is 73%.
Well, the community supports you and hopefully getting the salary and the benefits that you deserve, and we thank you very much.
So on top of that, just to note that our human resources officers, they are working really hard to try and hire new officers. There's a big class that just started. I want to say within the last couple of weeks, and we just graduated a class this past week. So they're actively working on our staffing woes here, but with bigger classes, we should have better staffing in the near future.
That's great.
One question, if I may.
One
Yes.
question.
Yeah, the district, how big is the district that those officers are securing for us?
District 7 runs from Punahou Street up into Manoa, all the way to the Makapu Lighthouse. I'm not sure what the square mileage is on that, but that's the boundaries of our district, and down to the Alawai Canal, Maka of Alawai, through Diamond Head, and all the way to Makapu from Punahou.
Thank you for trying to manage a huge district with a lot of different sorts of people.
Thank you.
We appreciate you being with us tonight, and please take care and mahalo for all you do.
Thank you very much.
All right, next, we have the report from the Board of Water Supply. Christopher Sugimoto, are you with us?
Hi, I'm here, Chair.
Hey, hi.
Hello,
Go ahead.
hello
How are
everyone.
you?
Good. My name is Chris Sugimoto from the Honolulu Board of Water Supply. Before I give this month's report, I would like to go over some questions from June's neighborhood board. First one was regarding a sinkhole in the BWS roadway near our New Valley Highlands 297 reservoir along Onolani Street. Can we send someone out to investigate and fix the sinkhole? So the sinkhole is on the BWS access road that leads to the New Valley Highlands 297 reservoir. The access road is also used by a customer that has a home adjacent to the BWS reservoir. The sinkhole has recently been patched, making it safe for vehicles to use. Investigation is ongoing to determine why the access road continues to sink. We'll update the board with new information once it becomes available. Second question was regarding the Halavazer'scape. Like when we'll open again, we'll notify the public about the plant sale. Unfortunately, there was a recess last month, so I couldn't notify everyone, but the Halavazer'scape plant sale was this past Saturday. Hopefully, people were able to go out and make it. It was a very fun and eventful day. I believe that's the rest of my questions. Let me share my screen for my report real fast. Cool. So for the main break report, there was one water main break. It was on July 11th. It was a 6-inch main, and the address was 5414 Kirkwood Place, and it was about 70 years old. So the general water announcements, it's about our BWS household questionnaire. So the Board of Water Supply is participating in a water access and affordability survey taking place in communities across the country. We encourage the public to fill out the questionnaire through Sunday, September 15th. It should take approximately 5 to 10 minutes to complete. Your input will assist the BWS to implement programs that better help vulnerable residents, including our kapuna. Responses are confidential. Copies of the questionnaire are available at satellite city halls and on our website at www.boardofwatersupply.com. And that's the end of my report. Does anyone have any questions or comments for BWS?
I have a comment. More people will fill out the questionnaire if you send it out to them via email. I think most residents have enough to do without going to the Board of Water Supply website and looking for the questionnaire. Are you able to send them out by email?
We could. What would be the best option? Sending it to the neighborhood board, that NCO rep, and then they can post it in your guys' minutes. Would that be the best option, or what would you recommend?
Is there a link to it online?
I don't have one right now, but if you give me a sec, I can find the link and post it in the chat right after this.
Okay, thank you. Are there any questions for Chris, Board of Water Supply? If we have a question, go ahead, Ulupuhi.
Aloha, Chris. I just have a quick question about the water in Kalani Iki. How's the water quality in Kalani Iki? Is it good or or is it just like, I know it's a fast one, like, is it just curious, like, is it resigning or becoming like more, I don't know, just contaminated?
Um, from the best of my knowledge, there hasn't been any issues with water contamination in Kalani Iki.
Okay.
But I don't have the official report with me, but I can bring this back to our communications and then they can kind of do more of a deep dive research and see if there was any contaminants detected over the years. And I can provide that at next month's neighborhood board meeting.
Thank you. Mahalo.
Chris, is there a well that's being used for supplying the residents of that area with water or not?
Right now, not necessarily. We're transporting a lot of water from the Metro Honolulu area, so there's not one particular well that's supplying the residents in that area.
Okay. Because I understand that there's only a certain pump capacity for some of the wells, and if that pump capacity is exceeded, then they start bringing up brackish, more salty water, right? Because so there is a problem with overusing the wells that we have available. They only have a certain amount that they're allowed to to provide for the population as a whole. They do have limitations. Is that correct?
Yeah, so I know the pumping capacities, especially for the wells out in East Honolulu, we had to reduce it significantly. Let's like you said, if we overpump too much, then it's gonna pull up like brackish. It's gonna be too salty, so we had to reduce it significantly. But we have the infrastructure to transport the water in from the sources in town, or like even out of like in Honolulu area. We can transport the water to East Honolulu to meet the demand in case if we have to reduce the pumpage more.
Thank you. So are there any other questions for Chris? Appreciate you tuning in with us, Chris. We do have a question. Janine Johnson, please go ahead. Janine, you're on.
Hi, sorry. So Chris, when you say you bring the water in when we need it, how do you do that? Is it through pumping trucks or do you have another line for that?
Oh no, it's like we have a big transmission main. It's like a 36-inch transmission main we're transporting water constantly from our sources in town to East Honolulu because the demand in East Honolulu is greater than the pumping capacities for the limited wells in that area. So to make up that difference, we have to transport the water through that transmission main to fulfill the demand.
So I know we talked about this in the water report that you folks are working on how we get our water from other areas of the island, which sort of is not fair to that portion of the island that we take their water from. Is there a plan to help our islands, our side, to get more water from our own area? So maybe more, what do you call those containers up on the mountains in the back of the Kuli'ou'ous where it does rain? Maybe to get that so it would
Yeah,
help.
I think that would be a possibility we could look into. I know Water Commission has been reducing the permitted use in the East Honolulu areas for those aquifers. So
Right.
because of that, we had to cut our permitted use for some of the sources to meet their demands. But yeah, we're looking at like alternatives, trying to make sure that you guys will always have water. There won't be any issue. So I'm
Well-
hoping that was addressed in that East Honolulu Watershed Management Plan.
Well, that's what we said, you can't keep building houses out here because we don't have capacity. And people are like, no, you have, we're like, no, we don't. So that's a good reminder that we don't have the capacity. It's because we don't have the water capacity. But thank you. Thank you, Chris.
No problem.
Thank you for your question, Janine, and thank you again, Chris, for keeping us informed on what's happening with the water supply and helping to protect it.
Yeah, no problem. Mahalo, everyone.
Mahalo. We will now go to proceed with our annual election of officers. So we will be re-electing, or we will be electing chair, vice chair, secretary, and treasurer. The nominations, okay, since I'm the chair pro tem, Clarissa Perkert, I need to pass the gavel on to my vice chair to conduct this part of the nomination.
So I'm going to call for nominations for chair. Okay, Clarissa Burkhardt is nominated. Is there a second? Yes, Mr. Kilcoyne. Okay, we have a motion and a second.
Moved.
Are there any other nominations? Are we online? Let's see. What do we have online? I don't see any hands. Are we good?
Callie, I move to close the nominations.
Do we have to second that? Okay. All right. So let's go ahead and have our vote. All those in favor of Clarissa Burkert continuing as chair of Neighborhood Board number 2, say aye. The ayes
Aye.
have it.
Aye.
You have to? Okay. All right. Do we have any objections? Do we have any nays? She put her hand up when it was voting for you.
Oh,
And she hasn't taken it down yet. Sherry, if you can hear me, maybe. There she goes. Thanks. Okay, we're all good now.
congratulations. Thank you for allowing me to serve you for another year. The nominations are now in order for the office of vice chair. May I hear nominations for vice chair? Please proceed.
So moved.
Okay, are there any other nominations for vice chair? If not, nominations for the office of vice chair are closed. Kawi Lucas is nominated. Let us now take a vote. All in favor of Kawi Lucas for vice chair, say aye or raise your hand, please.
Aye.
Any objecting or not voting, please. Okay, any objections, please state nay. Congratulations, Kawi Lucas is our vice chair for the coming year, and we very much appreciate her, all that she does for us, and look forward to working with her. Nominations are now open for the office of secretary. Do I hear any nominations for the office of secretary? Please go ahead.
I nominate Janine Johnson.
Janine Johnson is nominated. Are there any further nominations? No. If not, nominations for the office of secretary are closed. All in favor of Janine Johnson being our secretary again for this year, please say aye or raise your hand. Okay, any objecting, please say no. Janine Johnson, you have it. Thank you again for being our secretary again. Oh, I couldn't think of anyone better qualified and dedicated. Thank you, Janine.
Thank you.
Okay. Ask for speech. Nah, do that. Okay. Nominations are in order for the office of treasurer. May I hear a nomination for the office of treasurer? Who would like to be treasurer? You may nominate yourself. Sherry, are you willing to be our treasurer again?
Well, I'm trying to vote for.
I'm not quite sure what my sister's doing with the computer, but
I'm
if they
sorry.
want someone
Either.
to fill in, I will. Have you been getting my hand all along? Please say
Yeah.
yes. Thank you. Whatever happens.
Okay. So Sherry, are you nominating yourself for treasurer, which is totally appropriate?
I was not nominating myself, but if you need someone, I will do it.
All right. May I hear a second for the nomination of, okay. Yeah. Okay. Are there any other nominations? If not, the nominations for treasurer are closed. All in favor of Sherry continuing to be our treasurer, please say aye or raise your hand. Okay. Any opposed? Say nay. Congratulations, Sherry. I hope that this year is, we haven't had much for you to do, but we sure appreciate you being willing to fill that position, and please stand by for further assignments. Just kidding. Okay, time to go on to meeting arrangements and protocols. So we have been meeting on the first Wednesday of every month at 6:30 p.m. Now, are all in favor of continuing to meet at on this date and time? Is there any objection to keeping the current date and time? Please raise your hand. Okay, so second. All right, so we will continue to meet on the first Wednesday of the month at 6:30 p.m. And I didn't ask about the location, but is there any objection continuing to meet at the Ainahaina Library? Hearing no objection, we will continue to meet at the Ainahaina Library. Now is there any opposition to continuing to meet in person and online via hybrid and WebEx? Okay, I hear no objection. We will continue to conduct the meetings in person as well as online. I hope someday that we'll have this room filled and because it's great to see everyone's faces, and it makes for a much more lively meeting if we are all here. Okay. Next is rules of speaking. So we have asked, in order for all speakers to have time to be heard in terms of their concerns and to keep our meetings on time, we have been asking speakers to limit their talks to 2 minutes. We've asked people giving reports such as our emergency responders to 3 minutes. And for people giving presentations, we've asked them to keep their presentations to 5 minutes. Now, one reason for the 5 minutes is because often people have questions about what they are telling us about. Many of them are informational. Is there any objection to keeping the current speaker guidelines? Okay, hearing no objections, we will continue to ask our speakers to stay under 2 minutes, reports under 3 minutes, and presentations under 5 minutes. Thank you. We have had our timekeeper has been Shelley. Shelley Ham, I'm sorry. Shelley, yes, you're online. No, what I'm sorry for is I don't know if I recognized you at the beginning of the meeting and thanked you for serving our board. And that was a very mistake on my part. Shelley, I want to thank you for joining us tonight. Hope Shelley is not feeling well. And Shelley, I really appreciate you being there. If you, when you're feeling better, would you consider being our timekeeper? You can let me know later. All right. Next, we will talk about our recess month. So neighborhood boards are allowed to recess up to 3 months in a year. This past year, we recessed in January and July. Is there a move to recess at a time different from what we have been doing? So are there any objections to recessing in January and July this year? No, okay. Hearing no objections, we will recess at in the same months this year. Thank you. All right, we're just whizzing along. Okay. Approval of the June 5th, 2024 minutes. The June 5th minutes have been distributed. Are there any corrections to the minutes? Not hearing any corrections, the minutes are approved. Okay, we've gotten through all of our administrative stuff. So this is when we have an open period for concerns from the residents of our community. Is there anyone who wants to raise a concern to us and to our legislative representatives?
Are you asking the board?
Anybody?
I wanted to see if there's anyone from Kuli'ou'ou or Wailupe online that would wanting to say something. If not, I will give a report.
Pardon?
Okay.
Carl, go ahead. Mr. Brooks, please go ahead. Do you have a concern that you want to voice? Okay. Okay. Go ahead, Kalani.
So I just wanted to give a update on the Pu'uhonua o Wailupe burial grounds that our archaeological inventory survey has been finalized and approved by SHPD. We had to get it reviewed by the Office of Hawaiian Affairs and the Oahu Burial Council, both of which did review and did approve and does support the preservation of the burials. And right now we are in the process of writing burial plans for the new discoveries on the property. And that is prerequisite before we can move forward with the clean water natural lands application. And so I just wanted to give that update.
Thank you. What is the goal property? Is it to acquire the property for preservation and prevent any further building on that property so that the burial sites and the cultural significance of those sites can be preserved? What is the ultimate goal now?
To preserve it. We are hoping that the county will take the ownership of it. And we, as the Pu'uhonua Wailupe group, will be the caretakers for that area. The archaeological inventory survey did say, which is interesting, that it is a cultural landscape, right? So SHPD does acknowledge now that it is a whole area that has archaeological sites that need to be preserved. So that's a big step forward. This has been 2 years. And we're hoping to continue, we will continue forward. And I just wanted to see if there's anybody who has any concerns or questions about that. Anybody else? Oh, yeah, so it's on, if you go, what is it? Voss Street? No, Ka'ai Street. If you take a right up Ka'ai Street, right past the, right behind the fire station. So it's like, or, okay, you know where Aina Haina Elementary is? And there's the courts and the park. So it's right up behind that on the mountain. You can kind of see it from the road. It's where the developer had kind of built a wall and scraped the side of the mountain. You can see it from the road. Yeah, when you're passing, before you get to the fire station, if you look to your left, if you're coming into Wailupe, you look to your left, there's that, it looks like a bare mountainside. So like somebody just took a piece of it out. Yeah, it is. Yeah. Yeah, on the ridge, yeah. Yeah. No, not up on the ridge, sorry. It's more the slope. Yeah. It is 3 acre, 2.9 acres actually, but and we're hoping to get a grant so that the city can buy it. A private developer. Yeah. Yes. Yeah, so the developer is actually waiting for us to go through the process, and he supports the process. He wants something good to come out of this, so that's, yes. But he's in a crunch because he also had his business in Lahaina, which burnt down a year ago. So he's you know, he's hoping we get this resolved soon. Huh? No, he owns what was that? The frame shop. What was the frame shop called? Pictures Plus, yeah. The same one. It's the same one. Oh, okay. Yeah, nice man. So he's very supportive. His daughter-in-law is Clarissa Moore. She was, yeah. So yeah, so we've made peace with him, and it's been a really we started this about 2 years ago, taking care of it. So we have a work day once a month, and we usually put it up on our web stuff. So oh, the wall.
I just wondered what happened to the situation in New Valley right off Halimau. There are three giant properties, two of which are built. And the first one that went up, there was a big outcry because they were going into some kind of, was it burial sites or I'm not sure exactly what.
Yes, they graded it. It was too late. They graded the heiau. It was the bottom area of the Kuli'ou'ou heiau. Yeah, so, yep, it's there. You can buy one of the houses now if you're looking for one. They built them and now they're spec houses and now they're for sale. Okay.
The two, actually, there's a flag lot. So there are two properties and the one next to it just sold for 2 million. And there's a whole vacant lot. And I think they're going to put two more on, but it hasn't been developed yet. I bet it's for sale, but
There's a for sale sign in front. That's all I know.
oh no, that second one sold 2 million.
So hey, Alani, thank you for sharing some good news and many thanks to all who have worked so hard to make this happen in a way that is going to allow the burials to be protected. And hopefully the land will be acquired and left in its, well, somewhat altered natural state, but maybe that can be, some of that can be put back in a better way. Yes? Oh, okay. We have a question from Carl Brooks.
Aloha board, can you hear me this time?
Yes,
All right.
please go ahead.
I think my microphone is not working. I apologize. So I have two bike races to announce. August 25th, that would be Sunday. In 3 weeks, we're going to have Dick Evans Memorial Road Race. It starts at 5:45 in Kalama Valley, riding through a police neutral escort down Kalani. We'll probably be through Kuli'ou'ou, Ainahaina area by 6 o'clock. So not much effect for the race. Does anybody have any questions or concerns with that event?
I don't see any questions. Go ahead with telling us about the second event.
The second will be September 29th. That'd be another Sunday. That'd be the Honolulu Metro, or that'd be the Honolulu Century Ride. There'll be a bunch of people riding the bikes coming up and down through the area, but it will not be a race. It will be an individual ride. So people have to obey all rules of the road. If you have any questions or comments, please let me know.
What was it? What's the date again for the Honolulu Century Ride? September what?
September 29th.
Okay, got it.
I have a question, if I may.
Yes.
How many riders are we talking about and what's the time frame? How long's the race?
This Dick Evans or Century Ride? The Century Ride actually will probably have 1,500 to 2,000 people. And it'll be spread out over 4 or 5 hours. You'll have a lot of cyclists on the road, but it won't be anything that affects your driving. Shouldn't be.
Question.
Other question?
Did you go to the Hawaii Kai neighborhood board and also inform them about this?
Yes, ma'am, we did.
Okay,
Great.
and then where is the race from and to again? Is it gonna be on paved roads or are you going into unpaved areas?
It's all paved. First race or the second race? The second race is all paved roads. The first race is Dick Evans Road Race. That's all paved roads. We'll have a police escort the whole time, and it's all paved roads on the main highways and roads. We will not be going into the back neighborhoods. The Century Ride itself, it's basically the same thing. It's all on paved roads. It's all going on the main state and city highways and streets. So yes, no, nothing off-road, nothing, anything like that.
And will any streets be closed off?
There will be nothing, there will be road diversions for Dick Evans as far as like Kokonani area through Kalama Valley. There'll be a contraflow on one side of the road, but no traffic will be stopped. You just have to contraflow against the finish line. And with the Century Ride, no, there will be no road closures.
Okay.
Thank you for the announcements.
Thank you very much for your time, board. I hope you'll have a wonderful evening. Thank you for your consideration and aloha.
Aloha. Are there any other items that that anyone would like to bring up? Okay, we'll now go to officials' reports. So we are very thankful to having representatives from Congressman Ed Case, the mayor, the governor, city council. They generously donate their time to update us on what is happening in their offices and also give us a chance to talk directly, I mean, through them to these representatives to help solve some of the problems that we see in our neighborhoods. So beginning with Congressman Ed Case's representative, Julia, are you with us tonight? Okay, okay. Mayor Rick Blangiardi's representative is now Dita Holyfield. Dita, are you with us? Oh, okay. While I have a chance, Dita is replacing John Uchi, who was the mayor's representative, both Mayor Caldwell and Mayor Rick Blangiardi's representative for at least the past 5 years, as long as I've been on the board. And he was absolutely wonderful. He brought many of our concerns to the mayor. He is unable to continue in this position, and and Dita Holyfield, who may be known to a number of you through, let's see, she's a manager of a major media corporation. Let's see, the Salem Entertainment. And she promotes entertainment events and also sponsors the All American. Anyway, she apparently is quite an amazing person, and she hopefully will join us next time. Our next representative is Dave Day for Governor Josh Green. Dave is on the mainland teaching Attorney General. He provided us, hello? He provided us with some very neat updates, including the State Historic Preservation Division approval of the AIS for the Wailupi burial site, so that the preservation of that area can progress. He also shared the success of the Miley Amber Alert Program and a new multi-agency operation called Operation Shine the Light Child Recovery Project, which in Hawaii has enabled 11 children and youth to be found. So I think this article was featured recently in the paper, and you know, it's very important that we have something like that and organizations like that and programs like that to help our children. Our next representative is City Council Chair Tommy Waters. Adam Du. Adam, are you with us? Adam Du, your turn. Okay, Adam, we'll come back to you. Please let us know. Hey, hello.
Hi, is that better?
That's better. We
Great,
miss
thank
seeing
you.
you here, but thank you for participating remotely.
Yeah, sorry I couldn't be there in person tonight. The city council had their full council meeting today, so we had a very long day. I did want to give a shout out to your new mayor's representative, Director Dita Holyfield. She's the director of the Department of Enterprise Services. We have a great working relationship with her, and I'm sure you guys would love her as well. Her department oversees facilities like the Honolulu Zoo, which I believe was ranked in the top 5 in the nation this year, and other facilities like the Blaisdell. I do have 2 very important announcements that I think the board will be interested in. The City Council Committee on Planning and the Economy wants to hear your mana'o on the revised primary urban center development plan, also known as Bill 24. It guides Honolulu's growth, development, and sustainability through 2020 or 2040. The PUCDP is reviewed every 10 years and is designed to guide Honolulu's growth and development. It addresses key areas such as land use, transportation, housing, and environmental resilience. Residents can influence policies that will shape the quality of life in your neighborhood. So the primary urban center stretches from Kohala to Pearl City. This meeting will cover the neighborhoods between Ala Moana to Kohala. The meeting will take place at Kaimuki High School Auditorium Monday, August 12th, so next Monday from 6 p.m. to 7:30 p.m. This meeting will include a presentation by the Department of Planning and Permitting to address the unique circumstances of this area. Kuli'ou'ou is not part of the primary urban core. They are in the East Honolulu Development Plan. However, testimony is welcome from all Oahu residents. This special in-person meeting, people can provide in-person oral testimony at the meeting, and written testimony can also be submitted online at the City Council's website. The PUCDP can be found online, and I will email that to the board members as well for your review. And then secondly, I'm pleased to announce there's a forthcoming Wailupe Stream watershed flood risk management resolution and a intergovernmental agreement between the Department of Army and the city. The resolution is to be heard in the committee week of August 19th and at the full council on September 4th, which I believe is the same day as your next neighborhood board meeting. The resolution is not numbered yet. However, I did want to give you guys a heads up. So I will email the board the resolution and the agenda next week as soon as it is posted. But you can also find the agenda once it's posted online at the City Council's website. It will be posted 6 days before the meeting. And with that, I'm happy to take back any questions to Chair Waters.
I have a question.
Yes.
It's on the Wailupe Stream reso. So what is the reso about? Like, so could you repeat that again? What the title is or what the purpose of it is? And then what is in the language exactly? Like, what is the purpose of creating this reso? Thanks.
Yeah, that's a great question. Thank you for that. So the reso hasn't been numbered yet. So it's not posted online quite yet. But I believe it will be a plan to implement solutions for the flood risk management for Wailupe Stream watershed area. And it will also be on an agreement with the Department of Army and the city to work on that together. I hope that helps a little.
Is it the Army Corps of Engineers or is it the U.S. Army?
Great question. I want to speak accurately. So in front of me, it says the Army, the Department of Army. I know in the past, we are typically working with the Army Corps of Engineers. So yes, it's more specifically with the Army Corps of Engineers.
Thank you.
I have a question, if I may. I think we do a great job of studying these things, but not too much working on it. It's been over a year now, and the growth is back 20 feet high. And it's a real dangerous situation. And I thought during the summer we'd have some kind of movement on this thing, but we're deep into hurricane season, and this stream is potential disaster, in my opinion. And we haven't any dates that they're going to start cleaning it out again. And if we can study this thing, is all great, but let's get some work done on the darn thing.
Yes, thank you. Chair Waters completely agrees. He's deeply concerned about the delays. We have over 20 streams in our district between Hawaii Kai to Waikiki that all have delayed overgrowth requests for maintenance. However, Wailupe stream is especially concerning to Chair Waters due to the recent or from several years ago, major flooding in the area. So we did meet with the Department of Facility Maintenance to try to address this sooner. DFM did report back that the stream was supposed to be maintained this summer, or by the end of the summer. It's the end of the summer now. I tried my best to obtain an exact timeline for the start of this maintenance. I was not able to obtain that in time. I apologize for that. But we do agree the stream does need to be maintained immediately. This is outside of the council's purview. This is with the administration and the mayor's office. But it is scheduled for to be maintained shortly. And what I had, the resolution that that I had reported on just now, that's more for a long-term plan to address the stream. Thank you.
I have something I wanted. Oh, okay. I just have a suggestion. So,
yes,
I have concerns about the Army Corps of Engineers only because of their plan for Alawai, which was up, and literally they wanted to put football field size dams in 3 of the major streams, Makiki, Manoa, and I forget the other, Palolo stream. And that was that caused a lot of trauma, stress to the community for months. So my suggestion, going forward would be to put out a call for a community group to consult with and to look into sustainable and I would say a cultural avenues forward on this too as well. I wouldn't put it all in the hands of the Army Corps of Engineers. People are still reeling from what happened with the Alawai. I've been to some of those hearings. It was the poor poor Manoa residents were fighting to keep their land. You know what I mean? So I would say, temper this whole discussion and plan forward for Wailupe Stream with a community group. I mean, put a call out there, I don't know, an RFP or something, and get input for Wailupe Stream that is informed, that is culture, has, there's a whole history of people living in Wailupe, and it's better to look at those sources, traditional Hawaiian sources of how they manage the stream, rather than just depending on the Army Corps of Engineers. And that's just my mana'o. And I'll give you an example. Instead of putting, one of the discussions we had when we were talking about the Alawai, and putting those humongous dams in the streams. On one way, one alternative would have been to put a lo'i, because that would help with flooding. And so we can look at ways to take care of the stream in culturally appropriate ways. So that's just my suggestion. Thank you.
Thank you. That's a great suggestion, one that I'll definitely share with Chair Waters. He shares your same concerns with the Alawai flood proposals by the Army Corps of Engineers. He is firmly against the 6-foot walls along Alawai Boulevard. I share your same concerns as well. I live on Pololo Stream at the mouth of Ka'au Crater. So it would definitely have affected, the dam would have been in my backyard if one was built in Pololo Valley. So thank you. I'll bring, mhm.
Oh, no, one more thing. Yeah, and I think, the other part was they were gonna condemn people's homes and lands. So I don't think that the Wailupe residents, like this guy here, who live by the stream, are willing to give up their homes so that, you know what I mean? There needs to be some balance. And I think with the Army Corps, you gotta keep that in mind too.
Thank you. Yes. So this is just for a study, but I hear you. I think I'll bring back your idea for a call for a community group with Chair Waters, and I'll report back on that at our next meeting.
I just have one last thing, if I may. If Mr. Waters would like to come to my house, I could show him the stream. I think you could see it from about 5,000 feet up, how bad it is. But if he'd like to come out, I'd love to show him the stream. Or any other
Thank you.
representative.
Yeah, thank you. We'll take you up on that. I did visit the stream with Chair Waters last month, but I would like to see it from a resident's perspective from your backyard. So thank you. I'll get in touch with you offline to set that up.
Okay, thank you. Janine Johnson, please go ahead with your question.
Hi, Adam. I attended a meeting in Waimanalo last week regarding the wind turbines that are they're working on off of the Kaiwi coast, and I would also like to express my extreme dismay that our federal government is allowing people to take our icebox and use it for their own monetary goods under the auspices of providing energy for the island. It's sort of a slap in the face that these are our islands, and the federal government is telling us that they have the ability to sell our ocean, which we get our food from. And it's just really, it's not something that residents here kind of expect such in your face, but they are doing it, and they are going forward with that. And I know Chair Waters was there because I saw him at the meeting, and I really would like to express my deep disappointment that this is allowed to go this far. It's been a decade. We've been telling them no. We've told them no everywhere, North Shore, Waikiki. We just, everywhere they want to go, we've told them no, and they're not listening. They want to just go through with this because they want the money. And we don't know how to tell them no means no anymore, because they have things in their ears, they're not listening. So there's going to be a presentation at the Hawaii Kai Neighborhood Board this month, but maybe we can have a presentation at our neighborhood board so that we can also be informed as to, you know, what it is that the government is doing. They're actually making us less safe by having things out in the ocean. And I just don't understand that at all. Thank you, Adam.
Yeah, thank you so much. Like you said, Chair Waters was at the meeting. He shares your same concerns. He's very, very, very concerned. This is another very important matter. Again, that's another great suggestion for a presentation to the Kuli'ou'ou Neighborhood Board. I will make that request and work with Chair Burkett to see if we can get that on the agenda soon.
I have one more issue. I wanted
Is
to,
this for Adam?
yeah.
Okay, please go ahead.
Oh, I heard on the news that there was a resol that was introduced and passed at the city council, allowing a developer to purchase a park for $110,000. That and when I looked up the resol, it was introduced by Chair Waters. I'm very concerned about this because, first of all, I don't know who here can buy a piece of land anywhere for $110,000. And this is prime land right on Pi'ikoi. So I just wanted to express my dismay and opposition. And I would suggest that you work with the community group. You support the community group that's there, that is working on adopting the park, to clean up the park. There are other ways, you know, you could support, you can give the $110,000 to the community group to come up with a program to clean up the park. And then that way you can keep it for the community, you know. So I just wanted to share that. And of course, this is the one time I've ever been like kind of shocked at something he did, but yeah, I was pretty shocked. Thanks.
Yeah, thank you for that question, allowing me to clarify just a bit. So Chair Waters did introduce it as by request. So being the chair, he can introduce measures for the community to, you know, open up the discussion. It did go forth in front of the city council today, and Chair Waters did vote no against the sale for the mini park.
Oh,
Um,
that's great. Thank you. I was a little worried there. Thank you. That makes me feel better. But did it pass?
it did. Sorry. It did pass. I can send you more information about the mini park and the resolution and the plans on it. I think I mean Chair Waters does agree with you, and that's why he voted against it. However, I believe the developer's plan is to keep it still a green space. The city. I'll stop with there, and I'll send you the information.
Yeah, that's really sad that that happened.
We don't want that to become a precedent. Please go ahead.
I just want to add to what Janine said about the windmills and Kaiwi, the wind turbines. The Hawaii Kai Neighborhood Board meeting is on Tuesday, August 27th at 7 p.m. I'm happy to have them come and speak to us, but in the meantime, let's go show up in Hawaii Kai and hear what they have to say and say what we have to think.
I'm sorry, I missed the location.
I believe it's Hahaioni Elementary School. 7.
Can that information be included in the chat for those who might be having trouble hearing the dates? Okay, thank you. Are there any other questions? Oh, okay. Sherry Spangler has a question for you, Adam.
Yes, I was just hoping you could reiterate where the mini park is. What's the location and the name?
Yeah, thank you. I believe I have it right here. So it's the Pi'i Koi Mini Park. The resolution is, if you wanted to look it up, I could email this to you, to the board as well. But the
I just
resolution number is 2417. This mini park is, you probably drive past it quite often. If you're on the freeway and you take the Lunalilo exit in town, it's that small mini park right off to your right.
I don't know what you're talking about.
What's the cross street?
What's the cross street?
Is it a triangle?
I'd have to look it up. I'm sorry. I can
I have a
put it in the.
question. How did they
Uh-huh.
come up with $110,000? Like, did they actually find the value of the property? Like, we're going through this whole process with Wailupe, and we have to go through a process where we get the property evaluated by an expert. What is that called? Appraisal. We have to get our appraisal. Did they get an
Yes.
appraisal for this property? And it was
Yes.
appraised at $100,000?
Yeah. So the total area is about 5,000 square feet, and it was appraised by the Department of Design and Construction.
P. Cole, Safeway. I can't
Okay.
think of
So it's
I'm trying to
it's a
picture it.
fairly small area, 5,000 square feet. A home lot can be roughly about 8 to 10,000 square feet, so about half the size of a home lot.
Okay. All right.
I will send the board. I'll include this information to my email to you guys as well.
All right. Thank you. Casey, do you have a question for Adam?
Yes, I can share with you folks the location. This is the park that they're talking about
Thank you.
right here. It's across, from the on-ramp. This is Pico Street going up. It's this right here, this small park. Right here.
Okay. Thank you. That
Sure.
helps a lot.
Thank you, Casey.
Any other questions for Adam? We've given him a tough time tonight. No, you have an important job, Adam. So thank you for discussing, letting Council Chair Waters know about all these concerns that we have. Were
No.
there any other questions for Adam before we go on? Okay. Adam, you're off the hook. Thank you.
Thank you. That was great feedback, and look out for my email. I have lots of information that I owe you guys.
Okay. Great. Thank you very much for being with us tonight. Next, we have Senator Stanley Chang's representative, Marley Mason. Who?
Hi,
Oh,
everyone.
and I'm
Can you
sorry.
hear me?
Yes. Give us your
Okay.
name and
Yes.
Angie.
Hi, I'm Angie Chapman. I'm stepping in for Marley Mason tonight. Just started with the office of Senator Chang, so I'm happy to be here. I'm trying to drop something in the chat, but it's not working. So just a few announcements, a reminder, you can view the senator's district newsletter on his website or sign up for his housing newsletter as well. And then as for announcements, apply your child for a pre-K spot at Aina Haina, Kahala, or Hahaione Elementary. Applications are accepted until full and can be found at the Executive Office of Early Learning website. Next, save the date for October 10th, which is when the 2024 Children and Youth Summit will be taking place. Young people can share their thoughts with the legislature on ways to improve the quality of life for youth in Hawaii in the areas of healthy body, healthy mind, homelessness and housing, education, equality, safety and inclusion, and environment. All youth 24 and under are welcome. Registration opens in August, and you can visit hawaiicys.org to register. Lastly, the Department of Law Enforcement is offering up to $200 in Foodland gift cards for community members who turn in firearms in this year's Oahu's Gun Buyback Program. The buyback will take place at the Aloha Stadium lower parking lot on Saturday, August 24th, 9 a.m. to 3 p.m. The firearm must be unloaded, placed in a container or box, and loaded in the back of your vehicle. Residents must then remain in the vehicle while officials recover the firearm. To qualify for $100 in a Foodland gift card, residents can turn in handguns, rifles, shotguns, bump stocks, and Glock switches. Automatic firearms of any type, such as semi-automatic rifles and ghost guns, qualify for a $200 Foodland gift card. Residents can turn in as many firearms as they want, but will be limited to a maximum of 3 gift cards in total. For any questions or concerns, please contact the Department of Law Enforcement, and their number is 808-587-5045. That's all I have for announcements, but if anyone has questions or concerns to share with Senator Chang, I'd be happy to take them back to his office.
Does anyone have any questions for Senator Chang? I don't see any. I think that the Foodland gift certificates are a very novel and amazing idea. I really would like to hear how that goes. Thank you very much for standing in for Marley, Angie, and maybe we get to see you again next month.
Possibly, yes. I'm not sure, but it was great being here. Thank you for having me.
Yes, great to have you. The next report is from Representative Mark Hashem. Representative Hashem, are you online? Okay, not. Okay. Moving on to Casey Abe, Hawaii Department of Transportation. Hi, Casey. Thank you for hanging in there and for sharing the information about the P.E. Koi Park. What do you have for us today?
Okay, yes, I'm trying to get my system running, but I'm getting some technical difficulties here. Can you see my screen?
We can see you.
Oh, but you can't see my screen.
Not yet.
Okay, let me try. Let me try it all over again. Okay.
Chair, can I say something? Sorry about the PE Koi thing. Issue. Can I say something about that? I just looked up the prices of the home around it. They're all like almost $2 million, over $1 million. So it's hard for me to, just for the record, it's hard for me to imagine that a property adjacent to $1 million house would be worth only 100,000. That's just my thought.
We can see your screen now.
Okay, thank you. I can start now. Okay. Good evening, Chair Burkett and members of the Kuli'ou'ou Kalani Iki Neighborhood Board. Casey Albert from the State DOT Highways Division. Providing an update on the Senate Bill 588 relating to excessive noise that was passed by the 2023 legislature. The new law requires the State Highways Division to implement a pilot program to use noise detection traffic cameras to address excessive traffic noise in urban areas with a population of greater than 500,000 people. This slide shows the 12 locations in the Honolulu and Kaneohe district selected by the state highways with input from the various government agencies like the State Department of Health and the City and County of Honolulu and a private engineering consulting firm who is assisting with implementing this pilot program. 4 locations, locations 1, 2, 3, and 10, are within state jurisdictions, while the remaining 8 locations are within the city's jurisdiction. This pilot program will not issue any citations like how our pilot red light camera program. This program is to study the technical aspects of implementing these noise cameras and see if the data collected would stand up in court if the DOT, with support from the public and elected officials, decide to move forward with issuing citations in the future. The program has been advertised, and I will provide additional information at a future meeting. During the June meeting, there was a concern that there was no overhead street name sign for Ilupi Road, which is located right after you pass the Board of Water Supply facility going westbound on Kalani Highway. I did a quick field investigation. I'm glad to report that we do have an overhead street name sign, which is attached on our highway lights pole. I must apologize to Board Member Lucas. Unfortunately, our Oahu District Office is experiencing a shortage of manpower in their signage crew. So they still have not been able to install the new advanced no left or U-turn sign when cone at the beginning of the left turn lane at West Halimamau during the morning contraflow operations. I'll report back at a future meeting when the sign has been installed. I also apologize, but due to the manpower shortage, I'm still working with our Oahu District Office of scheduling the replacement of missing overhead street name signs and advanced street name signs throughout the neighborhood board area. This slide shows a plan view locations of the overhead signs for Ainakoa, Waikui, and Waiele streets, along with the advanced street name signs. This slide shows the general location of where the advanced street name sign going eastbound will be installed. This slide shows the general location of where the advanced street name sign going westbound will be installed. And this slide shows the location of the advanced street name sign for Aiki's Place. At the last board meeting, there was a request by a board member that we do not install a sign for Aiki's Place since it's a narrow substandard side street. If the board does not want us to install the Aiki Place sign, the board can vote on it. And if the majority agrees, I will inform our district office not to install the Aiki Place sign. These are just some of the examples of the new overhead and advanced street name signs that we will be installing along Kalani Highway from Ainakoa Avenue to Keahola Street in Hawaii Kai. I'll report back at a future meeting when the signs are installed. During my field investigation last Friday, I noticed a utility handhole cover was missing at Waiele Street intersection going eastbound. I'm working with our Oahu District Office to follow up with the utility company to install a new cover. Also, during my field investigation, I noticed the overgrowth was covering the traffic signal light at Waiele Street intersection. I'm working with our Oahu District Office on cutting back the overgrowth. And I did notice 3 highway light standards missing, so I'm working with our Oahu District Office to have new light standards installed. The locations are eastbound across Wailupi Fire Station, westbound near Kauai High Street, and westbound near Wailaiki Park. And there was lots of graffiti for our maintenance crew to remove or paint over. During my field investigation last Friday morning, there was a major traffic backup along Kalani Highway due to our landscape contractor cutting down 3 banyan trees in the meeting area near Kalani High School. When I saw the contractors cutting down these trees, the first thing that came to my mind was seeing the reaction of board member Ms. Spangler. I quickly contacted our Oahu District horticulturist to find out why they had to cut down the trees. I was told the trees were infested and overwhelmed with aphids and parasitic wasps, which caused their branches to become brittle and the dead peeling limbs overhanging onto the travel lanes was becoming a safety hazard. Unfortunately, we don't currently have any plan to replant new trees until we can determine viable replacements and a new irrigation source can be installed. We will be inspecting the other trees along Kalani Highway to ensure that they are not a safety hazard due to this problem. And finally, on the front page of the June 21st Star Advertiser, the state DOT settled a lawsuit called Navahini versus State DOT with a group of young plaintiffs, many of them high school students, who accused the state DOT of not doing enough to address greenhouse gas emissions that is causing climate change and will ruin their future livelihood and their right to a clean and healthy environment. The lawsuit was filed back on June 1st, 2022, and has been very costly to the state DOT. So far, the DOT has spent $1 million and was requesting an additional $2.5 million from the legislature to hire expert witnesses from the mainland to help defend the state. The settlement does not require any financial compensation, but it acknowledges the Hawaii's youth constitutional rights to life-sustaining climate. The settlement affirms that the DOT commitment to implement transformative changes in Hawaii's transportation system with the goal of achieving net zero emissions by 2045 across all transportation modes, land, air, and sea within the state. The group of Hawaii youth plaintiffs, with support from Our Children's Trust and Earth Justice, claim that the state's per capita greenhouse emissions from Hawaii's transportation sector are rising and anticipate to make up nearly 60% of the state's greenhouse gas emissions by 2030. Some of the requirements that the state DOT will be implementing as part of the settlement agreement are: within a year, the DOT will create a greenhouse gas reduction plan showing how Hawaii's transportation system will become more environmental friendly over the next 20 years. The plan will include 5-year benchmarks and performance matrix for the years 2030, 35, 40, and 45. These 5-year interim targets include reducing vehicle miles traveled, reducing the number of single occupancy vehicles, expand multimodal transportation options such as public transit, pedestrian pathways, and bikeways, adding more public charging stations for electric vehicles, and increasing the use of zero carbon alternative fuel like hydrogen for ground, air, and marine transportation. HDOT will be incorporating the Complete Streets policies, and information about complete street improvements for each project will be readily available to the public. HDOT will produce an annual report compiling the individual projects and detailing its progress in reducing the greenhouse gas emissions and vehicle miles traveled. HDOT will create a lead unit headed by a climate change mitigation and culture manager who will be charged with addressing climate change mitigations. A youth volunteer group will be established to provide advice on future climate change adaptation and mitigation efforts. And the DOT will develop and implement a program for public education, outreach, and community engagement and partnerships to support our greenhouse gas reduction plan and related transportation decarbonization work. And hopefully this next agreement will bring a smile to Ms. Spangler, where HDOT has agreed to plant at least 1,000 trees per year, utilizing native trees and shrubs wherever feasible to draw down the carbon in the atmosphere. Additional information on this settlement will be provided to future neighborhood meetings. This is a major transportation shift for the state DOT, especially the Highways Division. Hope to partner with the neighborhood boards and our elected officials on successfully implementing this multi-year settlement. Okay. This concludes my report. Board members or elected officials have any concerns about the state highways, they can email me. If you can attach pictures or Google map of the location of the concerns, I would greatly appreciate it. I can take questions at this time.
Okay, first, Casey, you always give us plenty of good information, but I just ask you to remember that reports we like to keep reports to 3 minutes. We
Okay.
know that you're trying to, I mean, that you have to answer to Sherry Spangler and that she often goes way beyond 3 minutes. So I think you guys are tied neck to neck on how long you like to speak. But please, in the future, if you can summarize the information and help us to stay on time, I'd really appreciate it.
Sure.
Okay, we have a question. Sherry. Sherry?
Thank you for your vote of confidence in how long I speak. The noise detection cameras, Casey, I think we ought to put some on Kalani Highway because that's where a lot of noise in a residential corridor is bothering a lot of residents with the motorcycles and car racers. Number two, the trees at Wiley Corner that are hindering the light. Let me go to my community association because those are private property trees. We should cut them because when you send DOT there, they cut back severely and kill the trees. They've done that in the past. So please let me get back to you as I get to my community association.
Okay.
Number three, it's pronounced Iki Place. IKI is Iki Place.
Yeah.
That's a long time. That place was there before the Wildlife Golf Course subdivision was ever built. It's private road. It's single road. It's crumbling. It's private. And to get onto it, you have to drive down. And like I said, it's a single car width and substandard road, and it's private. So I don't think the state pays money to send people off the highway who think they're going to find a coastal road, which is what they're always looking for. It's not a part of our community. It's a dead end road. So I don't know why you're directing people to go in there because, like I said, the people who live in there, I think it's Kuli'ou'ou land, and I think you need to do your homework on that. Have you gone to Iki Place residents and asked them if they want an overhead sign to direct them there?
For Iki Place, it's not overhead, it's on the side. The
It's
picture I
what?
showed you,
I'm sorry, it's what?
the street name sign is posted on the side. It's not
Yeah.
overhead.
Yeah, on the side is fine.
You were talking about putting a big green overhead sign there. And I was telling you it's a private road. And it's not me talking for the board. I'm just speaking about what I know as a person that has lived in that area since 1959. So you need to do some homework on that because you need to go to the Iki Place residents and ask them what they want, since it's substandard road, single car width, and no outlet.
Yeah, here's a picture right here. Okay.
Yeah.
So Iki, that's all it's gonna have. It's just gonna have on the side behind the
They already
guardrail.
have.
Yeah,
they
it
cl-
won't be overhead because there's no traffic signal standard.
Why do they want that?
Why
So
do you
just-
want a green sign? They already have a white sign.
Yeah, so the white sign is where at the corner.
Yeah.
Normally the city and county provides that. We're just trying to be consistent with all the public roads. In this case,
It's not
Iki-
public.
oh,
It's a private road. It's a private road.
okay. So you're saying there's a private road, that therefore we should not put a sign there.
It's unnecessary, and you're directing people off a state highway to go down there like it's gonna go someplace. Like I said, it's single width, single car
Okay.
width, substandard. And people are always trying to find different roads to try to get down to the hotel or the beach. And you're going to direct a lot of cars in there. You're going to create a traffic hazard. And I'm not speaking for the board. I'm speaking for myself and for the possibility that the residents there wouldn't appreciate you putting a green sign on the highway directing people down there.
Is
Okay,
this,
so, may I just interject? So, Casey, what you'd like the board to do is, vote yes or no on whether to put a sign there and then that'll do it?
Yeah.
We
Well,
can
I'm
do that
saying-
the next time in September and vote on
I
the
think-
issue.
I think we need to talk to the residents of Iki Place to find out what they want. This isn't a board, they're like innocent bystanders and we're a board, we're not a royal court.
Okay, so would you be willing to just give us an update, Sherry, on what the residents want? And then
Okay.
we'll put it on the agenda and we can take a vote on it.
I will go
And
and
give
walk it and do a
Casey the
petition and find out. And I just think the state DOT should do more of their homework. It's a private road and it always has been before any of this was
Okay.
ever built.
Okay,
you.
Casey, you're on notice.
okay, I'll let our district office to hold up on installing the sign.
Okay, thank you. Are there
And
any?
hold off on the, and hold off on the tree cutting because it's private
tree cutting.
trees, private property. And I'll go to our board and talk to them about it. Thank you.
Okay.
All right, thank you both. Okay, Casey, thank you.
I just
I
have
want
something to
to say-
say. That I think I see Casey's point because it is where the sign is, it's a public road. And I know a little bit of the history of that Iki place too. That used to belong to the Hikalea family. And then it was sold. So it was Kuli'ou'ou land. That's where the old village was. So even though it's private, really the beach is public. I mean, that's to my knowledge, it is. And then that road is a public road. So I think I see Casey's point in having that because it would be kind of very educational to have that sign there. It has historical value, the Iki street. And Uncle Michael Hikalea, who is our president, has talked about that place. That's where his aunt lived. What was her name? Shoots, Evaliko. Anyway, so I think I think it's important. It's part of the place name and the history of the place.
Okay, so I will add it to our agenda and we will discuss the signage on that street, and it would be helpful to have a little more background on it. Thank you. Okay, we have
My hand is up.
is this unrelated?
No, it's related to Iki. I just wanted to say, it doesn't go anywhere. It doesn't go to any beach. It just goes down. It's a single lane road that goes down to the little homes that live on it. It's a little private street enclave, doesn't go anywhere. And it's substandard, so cars can't even turn around without going in people's driveways, which are also substandard in there. It's not built like a present day city road. Like I said, when we always grew up, it was there. It was Kuli'ou'ou land at one time, and as Kalani says, it's probably been sold since then. But I'm just saying, we got to talk to the people down there and see what they want. And you can put it on the agenda, and I'll go down there, walk door to door, and ask them what they want. They're kind of pretty private, but that was there when there were pig farms and sugarcane fields, and there wasn't anything else around. It's not the city.
Can I say something?
Go
Yeah,
ahead.
it's not a turn sign to go into the street. It's a sign. And all of the signs, and I will say this about Guadalupe and that area, all of the street signs, all the street names have this history behind it. I mean, if you look at the street going up past right before the fire station, that's the Ka'ai Street, right? And the reason why it's named Ka'ai is there's a story behind it. And before that, there's Po'ola Street. And then the story behind that street name is very historical. So, and then the Iki Street is a part of that history. That is where the last Kuli'ou'ou landowners lived. And if you know anything about Kuli'ou'ou land, the rights that are connected to that land never expire. So you may say it's private, but I'm telling you, if it's Kuli'ou'ou lands, then it's a whole nother, it's in a whole nother category. Thank you.
Thank you. All right, we need to move on. Thank you again, Casey. So we will be prepared to discuss Iki Street again, maybe to provide a map for us. But we have a presentation now, and this is by Irene Banal from Department of Transportation Services regarding the upcoming East Oahu bus route modifications.
Thank you, Chair Parker. Are you able to hear me? Can you hear
Yes.
me okay? Okay. Good. Evening, everybody. My name
Oh,
is
you
Irene
sound a
Banal.
little, you're a little garbled. Can you use a better microphone?
Okay, sorry.
Is this
Can you
better?
get closer?
Can you hear me better?
Yes. Yes,
Yes?
thank you.
Okay. Okay. Thank you for having me. I am here to present the bus service changes effective this Sunday, August 18th, 2024. Oh, not this Sunday, but on Sunday, August 18th, 2024. Our staff has been making rounds to all the neighborhood boards that are affected by the upcoming changes. Tonight, I'll be sharing information on routes in the Kuli'ou'ou, Kalani Iki, and Ainahaina area. So may I share my screen, Chair? Can you see my presentation?
No.
No. Oh, okay. Share content. Okay, how about that? Yep.
Got it.
Oh, okay, thank you. Okay, so let's get going. Okay, first off, starting Sunday, August 18th, Route 18, University to Ala Moana, and Route 24, Kapahulu, Ainahaina. These will be discontinued. Just as a reference, the 18 is represented as this red line here. It serves Ala Moana Shopping Center, goes up to Makiki area, to UH, comes down past Kaimuki High School, and then at Crane Park, it switches over to the Route 24. And then the 24 goes down Kapahulu, past the zoo, around the crater, past KCC, to Kahalamao, out up into the Ainahaina Loop up here. And then it comes back down to this smaller loop and back toward Kahalamao. So the 18 will be discontinued, but we do have other routes that still serve the same areas as the 18. These are the options here. Route A goes to UH Manoa. There's Route 4, also to UH Manoa. Route 5, Manoa to Ala Moana. And then the 6, also to UH. Route 8, Ala Moana. 13, Ala Moana, Waikiki, Kapahulu, and UH. And then the Route 102, Makiki, Ala Moana. So the Route 18 was an hourly service. These other routes do run more frequently. The Route 24 will be discontinued. The only section of the 24 that will not have coverage is on 22nd Ave, Huanui, Pu'upanini, Hokole Street. That's an error on the slide. That's not part of the Route 24. But other than that block, there are many more alternatives for the 24. Routes 1, 1L, 2, 2L, and the new Route 7, I'll share that with you in a bit. And the 14 and
the 23, they all, you're able to transfer to them from Kahala Mall. So Kahala Mall is kind of turning into a hub where you can catch several bus options, east or west, depending what your destination is. Route 3 and 13, these do not go to Kahala Mall, but you can catch the 1 or the 2 and transfer to the 3 and the 13 to get to whatever your destination is. The next modification is Route 23. What's shown on the map is the current route. So Route 23 goes from Ala Moana Shopping Center east all the way out to Sea Life Park. The modification is that, as you can see, the blue line representing Route 23, we're cutting out the segment from Ala Moana up to Kahala Mall. But in its place, the 2 will be able to serve from Kahala Mall going back toward, heading out back west that way, in that direction. I'll explain more on how they connect. So Route 23 will be restructured. As I just said, Ala Moana to Kahala Mall segment will be discontinued. So alternate routes for the 23. You can catch the 2 or the 2L from Kahala Mall, this area right here. So if you're coming from Ainahaina or Kuli'ou'ou, you catch that, the 23 to Kahala Mall, and you can catch the 2 or 2L. The new Route 7, that's in an upcoming slide, that also goes from Kahala Mall, and it stretches all the way out to Kalihi. So you'll be going through Kaimuki along Wailea Avenue. You'll go to Ala Moana and through downtown on the new Route 7. And then Route 14, select trips, that will also be serving, well, it is currently serving Kahala Mall as well. And that heads out back west toward Ala Moana. Oh, I'm sorry, not toward Ala Moana, sorry, towards Kapahulu. The new Route 23 will be extended into the Ainahaina area and serve as a replacement to the discontinued Route 24. The route will remain unchanged between Ainahaina and Sea Life Park, and the span of service and frequency will remain unchanged. So the 23 is going to continue the hourly service that it has now. The new Route 7 that I mentioned earlier, it used to serve just Kalihi Valley, but we're extending it out to continue further east all the way down to Kahala Mall. So it goes through Nimitz, downtown Chinatown, Ala Moana, through Kaimuki, and then hooks up with Kahala Mall here. And then it heads back pretty much the same way, except instead of going through Chinatown through King Street, it's going to hop onto Nimitz. And the Route 7, oh yeah, it's detailed here. The frequency of this is 40-minute service. So there'll be a bus every 40 minutes heading out from Kahala Mall. And let's see, 40 minutes at night, 30-minute base, and then 15 minutes during the peaks. So this is the times that the new Route 7 is running. And these are the overview of the modifications coming up this Sunday. Like I said, we've been going through the neighborhood boards and then taking feedback and comments on the changes that are affecting that particular neighborhood and area. Any questions? This is all our contact information, but that's it for the presentation. Any questions or concerns I can take back?
Hello, this is Clarissa Burkert. I have a question regarding improved facilities for people transferring at Kahala Mall. It looks like there's going to be an increased number of people who are going to be waiting for buses there, and I don't think there's a whole lot of sitting room for people as it is. When I look at the bus stops there, there's usually nowhere for any additional people to sit, and also there's no bathrooms except in the mall itself. So is there going to be renovation or improvement in the bus wait areas in that area?
Oh, that is a good question. I will have to follow up with that with our facilities. I don't have an answer to that, but I can follow up with you after I pick it back to our facility section.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I have a question from Janine Johnson. Go ahead, Janine.
Hi, this is the first time I think I've seen you folks come and give a presentation to our board. So I don't know how you can state that you went out to all the affected communities to get what you were supposed to be doing here. But I have to object. The 23 was very much used by our community to go into Waikiki, to go to Ala Moana, and now we have to get off at Kahala Mall. We got to transfer to another bus. And it just seems like, who is benefiting from this? Kalihi? Why are Kalihi residents coming all the way to Kahala Mall? I don't understand. You're not doing us a favor. You certainly aren't, because you've taken away one of our direct routes. And then now you're saying that we're going to have a bus coming all the way from Kalihi that's going to go to Kahala Mall. What is the purpose of that? It's not a real big shopping center. Well, I just don't understand why. And like the chair said, there is no place for people to sit. I've seen people sitting on the ground. We have homeless people that hang out over there. You want to give them more business by having more people hanging out and sitting on the ground. And it did not seem like you came to our community, number one, to ask us if we wanted this. And then number two, you didn't even consider the ramifications of doing this on our community. And it just not well thought out.
Thank you for your comments. To address your first comment on the neighborhood boards. So it's not just your neighborhood board that's affected by the different changes. We've been making our rounds. Our initial request to get on board the board agendas went out in June. And unfortunately, this board had a recess in July, so we couldn't get scheduled till August. But we went to the other boards that did have meetings in June and July, and we're still doing boards tonight. Even now, our staff is split. The project lead for this is at another neighborhood board presenting. So I do apologize that we didn't get to present earlier. But as far as other outreach that we've done to our bus riders, we've actually had the bus operators hand out the rider alerts in June and July, and they're continuously doing that. So we've been catching comments and feedback from bus riders on these routes for the past couple of months. As far as the 23, I understand that it is the ride that people take from Ainahaina to Waikiki, but this change of bringing you guys or bringing people to Kahala Mall, to what has been built up as a hub, it gives you so much more options to get to Waikiki, to get to Ala Moana. You're not just stuck with one route, you have several to choose from. So, I mean, not everybody's going to agree, but there are a lot of options to get to these popular locations that the 23 serves.
Irene, I'd first like to thank you for an excellent presentation. I'm wondering though, was the route change discussed with neighborhood boards before? Because it seems like the decision has already been made to change the route. So is there any recourse at this point for the affected neighborhoods?
Well, at this point, the routes are going to go into, the service is going to start, but as with any implementation, once it goes into place, we can reevaluate to see what can be improved or if there needs to be any changes, but we do need to reevaluate after the service starts.
Okay. Are there any more questions regarding the change in bus routes? Shelley Ham has a question.
Hi, it's not really a question. It's just that I have to agree that the notices were handed out when the kids are out of school. So you're handing them out to a very limited group of people. But also, I just wanted, I think, Clarissa, you brought it up. No community, reaching out to neighborhood boards after it's already been decided is not community outreach. Community outreach is prior to the effects going into place. And the 23 being a direct route into Waikiki is a massive route for our neighborhoods. And even though you say there are more options once we reach Kahala Mall is a dreadful place to connect to a bus. If the weather's inclement, there's really nowhere good for shelter because under the bridges are where all the homeless people hang out, which leaves the people who aren't homeless to stand in the rain. But I really would like to reconsider this down the line. Thank you.
Thank you.
Are there any more questions or comments for Department of Transportation Services regarding the bus route modifications?
Just one quick one. What's the impact on the students? Is this any major impact for them getting to school?
Well, with the cancellation of the 18 and 24, those concerns have been brought up, but we've been taking their communications case by case because it depends on where they're coming from. So when they email, these are students I'm talking about, when they email the busstop.org, they give us what location they usually would catch the bus at, and then we can give them possible options on how to get to UH. In the case of Ainahaina, if they're using the 23 or the 1, they can, from the 1, they can transfer to the 13 at St. Louis, or they can transfer to the 6 at King and University. That's probably the most direct connection if you're just specifically talking about students trying to reach UH from Ainahaina area, Kuli'ou'ou as well. As far as Kalani High School students, they're not really too much impacted because they have existing options. If they don't take the 1824, there's still the 1 or 1L that goes that way.
I have a question.
We have a question from Kalani Snodapale.
Yeah, I just have a question. Is this because of budget cuts? Are you guys trying to cut the budget,
No,
for
no,
the bus program?
no. So quarterly have like modifications to routes. So, because we're constantly evaluating our bus network as a whole. So it's not just, we're not rotating between different regions or areas. It's we look at the whole system and we look for where modifications can allow us to reallocate our resources. So in the case of like this one, the 18 and the 24, the popular locations for that are UH and sorry.
And the question I have is it because of the lack of bus drivers?
Oh, well, low staffing seems to always be an issue, but the changes that are coming right now, that's not the reason why we're having these changes. Like it's just when we do these evaluations of the whole network, we see where certain routes are underutilized considering the service that we provide. So when we cancel those routes, we are able to reallocate the resources that were used for that route to help bump up something else or provide more frequency for something else. So it's not budget cuts.
Irene, how can the community give you feedback on these route changes in the future? Is it through the bus stop at honolulu.gov is the appropriate way to just let you know how it's going in our neighborhoods?
Yes, that would be the appropriate way.
Okay, thank you very much for coming to speak with us tonight. All right, it is now time for our closing. Oh, you're welcome. Great job. Thank you.
Thank you.
Time for our closing announcements. The next regular meeting of the Kuli'ou'ou Kalani Iki Neighborhood Board will be next September 4th, and we'll have a regular agenda now, and we have a number of presentations with information already lined up for you. So please come again, come in person if you can. And I want to thank all of our board members for just being a wonderful board to work with and for their service to you, the community over the past year. And congratulations to the officers. I feel so privileged to have a board like this. They really are great. So I want to thank you again for being here and officially adjourn this board. So the Kuli'ou'ou Kalani Iki Neighborhood Board this meeting is now ended.